The Battle of Fancheng, also known as the Battle of Fan Castle, is named after Fancheng Fortress in Xiangyang. In the years leading up until 219, Cao Cao's forces suffered from numerous insurrections, not only in Xuchang but also in Huang. Due to Cao Ren's wanton policy of conscription and forced labour, Huo Yin and Wei Kai led several thousand of Huan's citizens to rise up against the Cao. They requested help from Guan Yu, but the rebellion was massacred by February of 219 after great contributions from Pang De. Meanwhile, in Luhan County, even more peasants revolted out of anger because of the continued forced draft. They killed their county registrar, then defected to Guan Yu, who commissioned them to work as raiders for him. In July of 219, Guan Yu decided to build on Liu Beis' conquest at Hanzhong by launching an offensive of his own. His army was a mixed force of infantry, cavalry and naval units, leveraging the Han River for mobility and supply. The campaign's objective was not clearly stated, but Guan Yu was believed to be targeting Nanyang Commandery because of his attack route and the fact he chose to surround Fancheng Fortress. Around the same time, Cao Cao was in Chang'an, where he gave orders for Cao Ren and Ye Jin to defend Fancheng. Guan Yu ordered Mi Fang and Shi Ren to stay behind to guard Jiangling and Gong'an counties, while he led his army north along the Han River, accompanied by Guan Ping, Liao Hua and Zhao Li. As an adopted son and trusted officer, Guan Ping most likely served as a key field commander, leading troops during the siege, managing segments of the encirclement, or assisting in assaults on Wei fortifications. As a subordinate officer, likely a major or captain, Liao Hua would have led a smaller contingent of troops, either in direct combat or a supportive role. If he commanded reconnaissance units, their scouting, patrolling and securing supply lines would have helped Guan Yu implement his grander strategies. As a commandant, Zhao Li was responsible for overseeing military discipline, training, and commandants also often provided tactical input. He likely led a smaller unit than that of the Guans during engagements in order to support their larger assaults. He may have also defended key positions like supply depots, or kept retreat paths open for defensive measures. Cao Ren and Pang De defended Fancheng, whilst Liu Chang was stationed at Xiangyang City, but both locations were being surrounded by Guan Yu's forces. Xiangyang Commandery was not very heavily guarded at the time, so Cao Cao ordered Ye Jin to provide assistance. When he arrived, he pitched his camp on low ground and started making plans for a counterattack. His loyalty was questioned by some others, so Ye Jin was eager to prove himself. People were also suspicious of Pang De's allegiances, so he often said, "If I don't kill Guan Yu this year, he'll kill me." He volunteered to lead a unit to engage Guan Yu and famously forced them to withdraw several times. On one occasion, he fired an arrow that became embedded in Guan Yu's helm, so since then, he became known and feared among the enemy as White Horse General because of the grey horse he rode. Even though Guan Yu couldn't defeat Pang De, he still held firm control over the water routes and the encirclement of Fancheng. To further assist, Cao Cao appointed Zhao Yan as a consultant and ordered him to join Xu Huang in leading troops to help Cao Ren. The heavy rains in August caused the Han River to burst its banks, which flooded the Cao Wei forces. They suffered at least 40,000 fatalities and another 30,000 were captured by Guan Yu. Pang De was stationed at a separate camp north of Fan at the time, so retreated to the top of a dam. When Guan Yu's warships arrived, his marines fired arrows at the dam, so Pang De donned his armour, armed himself with a bow and arrows, then returned fire at the enemy. The battle raged on from morning until afternoon, with increasing intensity as the water level rose and the arrows were running out. Two of Pang De's colleagues wanted to surrender, but he executed them on the spot. Pang De declared, "A true general fears not death, nor begs for mercy. Today, I die a martyr, unwavering in my principles." With arrows gone, he led his dwindling men into brutal close combat, though many had already surrendered. He eventually attempted to escape with 3 others, but their boat capsized. Still in his armour, Pang De clung to the wreckage to stay afloat, until he was surrounded and captured. Ye Jin's 7 armies and Pang De were both completely annihilated, and they were both captured by Guan Yu's navy. Ye Jin begged for his life and surrendered, while Pang De refused and dutifully faced death. Mean fellow, what is surrender? The King of Wei has thousands of troops and his might trembles the empire. Liu Beis is an inferior man, how can he hope to resist the King of Wei? I'd rather be a ghost of the state than a servant of my enemy. When Cao Cao heard of his general's fates, he mourned Pang De's death for a long time. "I've known Ye Jin for 30 years, yet the behaviour he displayed in the face of danger was no better than that of Pang De." Fancheng was hit hard, with Cao Ren being forced on the defensive as he stationed behind the safety of his walls with his several thousand surviving troops. Guan Yu made use of the floodwaters to surround the fortress as Cao Ren, with supplies all but destroyed, considered withdrawing. The administrator of Runan, Man Chong, disagreed. He drowned his horse and pledged to stay with the soldiers in Fancheng till the end. "Sir, you should continue to hold up here. The floodwaters may be flowing fast, but they will not last for very long. Guan Yu has already sent troops to Jia County, but doesn't dare attack further, just in case his southern base in Jing is attacked. If we abandon Fancheng, we'll be allowing Guan Yu to advance freely, and we'll lose all the territory south of the river." Cao Ren agreed, so strengthened the defences by going around the city rallying his soldiers, drafting every available man to increase his troops to over 10,000. When Xu Huang's unit reached Fancheng, they saw that Cao Ren was stuck in a perilous situation, with enemy troops completely surrounding the fortress. To make matters worse, no other Wei reinforcements had arrived yet, and Xu Huang had only a small unit made up of purely new recruits. They cried for action and pressured their superiors to lift the siege until Zhao Yan rose up and maintained discipline, explaining to all. "The enemy has surrounded Fancheng so heavily that even water cannot seep through. We have too few troops and no way to make contact with Cao Ren. I expect our remaining reinforcements will be here within 10 days and that Cao Ren should be able to hold out long enough. Why don't we send our vanguard to try and contact Cao Ren and let him know that we're nearby to help raise morale within the city? When our allies show up, we will attack Guan Yu from the outside, while Cao Ren attacks from the inside, and if they don't show up in time, I'm willing to take full responsibility." All of them agreed with this view, so Xu Huang ordered his troops to dig trenches and tie notices to arrows and fire them into the fortress, letting Cao Ren know that reinforcements had arrived. Following these developments, the inspector of Jing, Hu Xia, who held responsibility for raising troops, and Fu Fang, Cao Cao's administrator of Nanxiang, both defected to Guan Yu. Rebels and bandits from several counties arrived and also accepted Guan Yu's command as his fame spread across Huaxia. His military numbers grew to the point that he could no longer feed them, so he sent troops to confiscate grains from Sun Quan's territory instead. The immense threat that Guan Yu posed to Xuchang even made Cao Cao consider relocating his capital and asked his advisors for input. Sima Yi and Jiangji both strongly opposed the idea and pointed out that the Sun-Li alliance was shaky at best. They recognised the feud over Jing province and Sun Quan's jealousy if Guan Yu succeeds in the end, so they suggested to offer Sun Quan a legitimate claim on some territory if he agrees to flank Guan Yu's rear. Sun Quan sent an emissary to Guan Yu, wishing for a marriage between his own son and Guan's daughter, but he insulted the messenger and rejected the proposal, which infuriated Sun Quan. He used this incident, paired with Guan Yu's earlier attack on his supply base, to justify severing the alliance with Liu Bei, then authorised Lu Meng's attack on southern Jing. At the time of the outbreak, Liu Bei commanded Nan, Lingling and Wuling. Liu Jian and Xu Shang arrived with reinforcements to Xu Huang, who had direct orders to rescue Cao Ren once they got there. He pushed with his new recruits just north of Fancheng, but showed restraint here and didn't press further. Guan Yu was aware of Xu Huang's situation, but didn't attack him either due to overconfidence, believing that Fancheng would fall into his hands either way, so he ignored the threat and divided his army up to apply more pressure to the attack on Xiangyang. This created an opening for Xu Huang to exploit, as Guan Yu's vanguard was also pitched just north of Fancheng. When Guan Yu split his army, the gap between them and the vanguard widened, so Xu Huang dug trenches around the isolated unit, giving the impression he was aiming to cut them off. They reacted by pulling back, which allowed Xu Huang to advance forward to Yan, much closer to his objective. When 10,000 battle-hardened veterans led by Yin Shu and Zhu Gai also arrived, Xu Huang's army became emboldened enough to overrun Guan Yu's main camps. Throughout these months of stalemate, the emissaries of Sun and Cao relayed messages that confirmed Sun Quan's planned attack onto Guan Yu's rear. Sun Quan asked for it to be kept a secret, and most of Cao Cao's advisors agreed, but Dong Zhao objected. Copies of Sun Quan's letter were tied to arrows, then shot into Fancheng and Guan Yu's camps by Xu Huang's archers, The defenders' morale increased, while Guan Yu was put into a dilemma and hesitated. He didn't want to abandon his attack, and believed Sun Quan would still attack Cao Cao if Fancheng was captured. As Guan Yu wasted time and delayed, Cao Cao was personally leading his own elite troops to the battlefield. Guan Yu's forces were split, with most camped at Weidu and a smaller group at Xizhong. Huang cunningly spread rumours of an attack on Weidu, but instead targeted the vulnerable Xizhong. Guan Yu, deceived, rushed 5,000 troops to reinforce Xizhong, only to fall into Xu Huang's trap as they were ambushed en route. Xu Huang gave an order to his men. Whoever takes Guan Yu's head will be rewarded with 1,000 jin of gold. The shocked Guan Yu asked, "Brother, what are you talking about?" before he retreated, and Xu Huang replied, "This is an affair of the state." He gave chase with his men, trampling and storming Guan's main camp upon reaching it. Previous defectors were slaughtered by Xu Huang's troops as they overwhelmed the camp, while Guan Yu abandoned his position entirely, fleeing south. The siege of Fancheng had collapsed. Cao Ren assembled all the officers and discussed with them his plan to pursue Guan Yu and capture him if possible. Xiaoyan disapproved. Sun Quan wanted to secretly invade southern Jing, but was worried that Guan Yu would turn back and save his base. Even though Wu has pledged allegiance to us, they're actually sitting on the fence and waiting to see if we take advantage of their conflict. Now that Guan Yu has become isolated, we should leave him for Sun Quan. If we defeat him now, Sun will become worried about our momentum and turn hostile. I believe the King of Wei shares the same deep thoughts about the current situation as me. When Cao Cao heard of the victory at Fancheng, he went to congratulate Xu Huang in person. The enemy formation was very thick, yet you were able to destroy their camps and kill many of their men. I have fought in battles for over 30 years, but never have I heard of one who tries to break a siege by directly attacking the enemy's encirclement. The situation at Fancheng and Xiangyang was much worse than that of the ancient battles at Zhu and Jimo, where the defenders were actually reinforced. Your achievements are comparable to those of Rangju and Sun Tzu.